Kanye West isn't just a rapper, he's a walking headline, a chaos generator, and quite possibly the most unpredictable figure pop culture has ever produced. And just when you think he couldn't get any more unpredictable, he shows up at a federal courthouse. Not for his own legal drama, but to support another music titan under fire, Sean Diddy Combs. Now, this isn't some random public stunt. Kanye and Diddy go way back. In the early 2000s, when Kanye was a nobody in the industry, and Diddy was already a hit hip-hop producer. But now, that legacy is under fire as Diddy, once the king of multiple hit record productions, is facing some of the most disturbing allegations the industry has ever seen, ranging from drug distribution and sexual assault to sex trafficking and physical abuse. It's not just a scandal, it's a total collapse of a brand built on power, money, and influence. So, what does Kanye do? He doesn't distance himself. He walks into the storm, dressed head to toe in white, flanked by security, gliding past the flashing cameras like he's arriving at Fashion Week instead of a federal courtroom. No comments, no statements, just his presence, loud, silent, and impossible to ignore. Kanye had not announced his arrival beforehand, with footage from crowds outside the courthouse showing their surprise as he made his entrance. Diddy arrived at the courthouse where he crossed paths with P. Diddy's son, Christian Combs. And after a brief hug, they headed inside together. Once inside the courthouse, Kanye wasn't permitted into the main courtroom due to space or procedural reasons. Instead, he was directed to an overflow room where the trial was being shown on a screen. During their time in the overflow room, they watched testimony, including that of Diddy's former personal assistant, Jonathan Perez, who was discussing King Nights organized for Diddy. Ye was also greeted by a member of Diddy's legal team, Xavier Donaldson, inside the courthouse, indicating awareness of his presence. After their brief stay, they left the courthouse with no indication they returned to the main courtroom or had further involvement that day. He stayed for roughly 30 to 40 minutes before leaving. Reports say he appeared visibly annoyed or disappointed, possibly at not being allowed into the main proceedings. He exited the courthouse without interacting with the media, leaving many to speculate about his reasons for showing up and what it might say about his continued loyalty to Diddy.
Hey, what brings you here today? Are you an iconic rapper? Are you in the freak offs? Was Beyonce the girlfriend that Jane was talking about?
Take it, brother. Take it, brother. Take it, brother. Take it, yeah. Take it, yeah. Take it down, bro. Take it. Take it, man. Kanye. You know you Kanye. You know you Kanye. You know you Kanye. You know you, bro. We love you, bro. What's up, Kanye?
Why would he do this? Is it loyalty, brotherhood, a deeper message about standing by someone who shaped him? Or is it just Kanye being Kanye, never missing a moment to shake the system? Whatever the reason, one thing's for sure. When two of the most powerful and most controversial men in music show up in the same courtroom, it's no longer just a legal story, it's a cultural earthquake. So, let's break it down. How exactly is Kanye involved in the Diddy situation? Let's hear it from Gene Deal.
And they went to plays, they went to show, they went out to eat and everything. And then later on that night, they went to a hotel room. Whereas there's some other couples in there too and some other people. And there wasn't a freak off, but it was one of the guys who does the freak off with her there. And they were all sitting around watching and drinking while this guy was having sex with another sex worker or whatever like that. And while all of them just watching him have sex and stuff. I guess it's some...
Kanye's involvement in the Diddy situation originates from their public collaborations. Kanye West and Diddy have a history of professional collaboration dating back to the early 2000s. West produced the track Everything I Love for Diddy's album Press Play and joined Diddy's production team, The Hitmen, for the mixtape MMM Making Money, Mitch. Diddy also co-produced West's single All Day in 2015, Not only that, but Kanye has also shown loyalty to Diddy as he defended Diddy's actions in a 2016 assault video involving Cassie Ventura, framing it as an act of love and questioning its classification as domestic violence, which sparked significant backlash. The brief history they share raises speculation about Kanye's participation in Diddy's long list of horrible crimes, the more infamous being his freak-off parties. Described in Diddy's federal indictment as elaborate and produced sex performances involving coercion, drugs, and commercial sex workers, remains speculative and unproven, with no definitive evidence linking him directly to these events. But some evidence and huge social media speculation raises suspicion, but Kanye himself denies even being invited to these parties. Who knows if he's telling the truth of just protecting himself by not spilling too many secrets?
Amount of control. And you get the kings and the chiefs and all that. You try to tear down their reputation. You try to come and take them, lock them up. Anybody who ain't play by the rules or play by the game or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
And when you say you wasn't invited to these parties, obviously Cat Williams done talked about these parties. People will mention
I don't know if it's a party. I'm saying that metaphorically. You know what I'm saying?
But you've heard about the parties that everyone are talking. But you've never got invited to.
I don't know.
Really.
I don't know. I don't even know what the party. That's how far out of it I am. I don't know. But the people call me Illuminati too. It's like, call me what? Okay, cool. I'm Illuminati. Then. Whatever it is. It's like, whatever the I don't care. I really don't give a
One theory behind Kanye West's unexpected appearance at Diddy's courthouse hearing is that it was a calculated show of loyalty. Despite the serious allegations against Diddy, Kanye may have wanted to publicly support someone he considers a mentor and longtime influence. Their relationship goes back decades. And if there's one thing Kanye is known for, it's letting silence speak louder than words. At the courthouse, he didn't say a thing, but his presence alone sent a clear message. Whether it was rooted in personal loyalty, some deeper motive, or simply a desire to be at the center of controversy, his favorite place to be. No one knows for sure. But with Kanye, silence is rarely empty. It's part of the performance. Another theory to explain his appearance out of nowhere is that Kanye West might be in danger because of what he knows about Diddy and the power Diddy still holds behind the scenes. While this is not confirmed by any official source, the timing and tension around Kanye's courthouse appearance have raised serious questions. Why would Kanye, who rarely shows up to anything quietly, attend a federal trial surrounded by allegations of abuse, trafficking, and violence just to sit silently in an overflow room? And why leave abruptly, reportedly, visibly annoyed? Even at the courthouse, Kanye was accompanied by Diddy's son, Christian Combs. Let's talk about Diddy's son, King Combs. Present at the courthouse at his father's trial in Manhattan, he entered the courthouse with Kanye West. King Combs doesn't fail to show his complete support to his father. Regardless of the allegations against him, King Combs showed devotion to his father as he showed up at the courthouse wearing a black t-shirt that said, "Free Sean Combs" on the front, and that alone turned heads. It wasn't just a fashion choice or a quiet nod of support. It was a clear, bold message that he's standing by his father, no matter what the world is saying. While Diddy faces some of the most serious charges of his career, Christian didn't try to hide or keep a low profile. He walked in wearing that shirt like a statement, loud and unfiltered. His presence at the courthouse with Yeb aligns with this support, and there's additional context of their collaboration on an upcoming album, suggesting a close relationship. This appearance wasn't just a symbolic gesture. It created a ripple through social media, newsrooms, and fan communities alike. Everyone was talking not just about the case, but about who showed up and why. The image of Kanye West, an artist whose entire brand is built on disruption, standing silently beside Christian Combs, who is defending his father in the most visible way possible, was more than a moment, it was a statement. And the message, however cryptic, was loud. In recent years, Kanye's public actions have often been questioned, criticized, or written off as performance. But when placed in the context of his history with Diddy, this latest appearance begins to feel less like a PR stunt and more like a consistent thread in Kanye's pattern. Loyalty to certain figures, especially those who were influential in his early career, has always been something Kanye holds on to, even at the cost of backlash. And backlash, of course, followed. Critics and commentators were quick to question Kanye's judgment. Why stand by someone facing these kinds of allegations? What message does that send to victims or survivors? Some even argued that this was yet another example of Kanye's tendency to center himself in controversies that have little to do with him directly. But supporters pointed out that Kanye has always challenged the idea of public morality, that he resists the idea that he has to play by the rules of conventional public opinion. And that resistance is part of what makes him so complicated. This is where the conversation deepens, because if we examine Kanye's public behavior, his appearance at Diddy's hearing fits into a broader pattern of how he engages with powerful figures, scandal, and loyalty. When someone close to him is under fire, Kanye doesn't distance himself. He leans in, he breaks norms, and he often does it without a word, letting the image speak. And it's not just Diddy. We've seen Kanye do this with other controversial figures. Think about his alignment with Marilyn Manson or his praise for Donald Trump. In each case, the reaction was the same: outrage, confusion, criticism. But for Kanye, these moves seem to be rooted in a personal code, one that's more interested in provocation than appeasement. He doesn't always explain, he doesn't always justify, but the moves are rarely random. In Kanye's world, silence is often louder than words. And this moment, this courthouse visit, felt like a declaration without a caption. Now, let's revisit Christian Combs' bold stunt as he openly supports his father, his Free Sean Combs shirt, a short sentence, printed on a black t-shirt, worn to a federal courthouse during a serious trial. That's not fashion. That's strategy. That's a headline on a chest. It's also a signal to the public, to the fans, to the industry, and maybe even to the legal system. He's not hiding. He's not turning away. He's going to stand next to his father, whether the world understands or not. And standing next to him, Kanye West. There's another layer here that deserves attention. While the world debates what Kanye and Christian's presence at the courthouse means morally, few are discussing what it means culturally. This isn't just two men showing support. It's two generations of hip-hop royalty aligning themselves with the embattled patriarch of their world. That's not something you see every day, especially not in a public courtroom with federal charges looming overhead.
Okay, but I don't think it's good. I'll take you out.
From a historical perspective, this could become one of those moments that's revisited years later, with the same intensity as we now view early rap feuds or mogul rivalries. Because if Diddy's case goes the way prosecutors suggest it might, it won't just redefine his legacy. It could reshape how people view the interconnectedness of power, fame, and accountability in hip-hop culture. And Kanye is, once again, at the center. Online, especially on platforms like Reddit and TikTok, speculation has surged. Did Kanye know more than he let on? Has he participated in anything related to Diddy's so-called freak-offs? Is he there as a witness, or worse, a participant? So far, there is no confirmed evidence tying Kanye to these events, and he himself has denied any involvement, or even being invited. But that hasn't stopped people from drawing lines between photos, lyrics, and vague statements from insiders. The mention of freak-off parties described in the indictment as organized sex parties with heavy drug use and alleged coercion has only fueled that speculation. And because Kanye has always presented himself as someone with deep knowledge of the industry's hidden corners, people assume he knows more than he's saying. He probably does, but knowing and being involved are not the same. Kanye's denial, while consistent, hasn't silenced the conversation. If anything, it has only made people more curious. And his decision to show up at the courthouse without explanation, without invitation, made it worse or better, depending on your point of view. Still, it's important to remember speculation is not proof. Being seen somewhere, or even supporting someone publicly, does not automatically imply guilt. But in an age where public perception often outweighs legal nuance, every image, every clip, every silence becomes part of the case in the court of public opinion. And Kanye knows how to use that court better than almost anyone. Back to the courthouse scene, the imagery of Christian and Kanye walking side by side has already become iconic. It tells a story that words can't quite capture. There's grief in their faces, but there's also resolve. These are not expressions of confusion. They are expressions of people who seem to have already chosen their side. And that's what makes it so divisive. To some, this looks like blind loyalty. To others, it's a refusal to abandon someone who shaped them. And to a few, it's just Kanye being Kanye, constantly moving where the noise is the loudest. But underneath all of that is a deeper reality. Whether he intends to or not, Kanye's presence at that courthouse has made the case even bigger than it already was. It's now not just about Diddy. It's about what his fall might mean for everyone who stood next to him, for everyone who came up in the world he helped build, including Kanye. That's why this moment is more than a court appearance. It's a reflection of hip-hop's complex legacy, how the culture has celebrated power, glamour, and excess, often without interrogating what lies beneath. And now, as the allegations pile up, that legacy is being re-examined in real time. What happens next is uncertain. The trial will unfold, more information will come out, more names might be dragged into the spotlight, and we might learn things that change how we view the industry entirely. But no matter how it plays out, this moment, Kanye West silently walking into a federal courthouse alongside Diddy's son, will remain etched in the narrative. It's not just a headline, it's a symbol of everything we love and hate about celebrity, loyalty, and the very public stage of private relationships. And in typical Kanye fashion, he said nothing. But everyone heard it anyway. But whatever happens, we will be here to update you about every second of it.